Forgot to add myself.
So we're all here and the host isn't.
Yes. I was like, man, I'm out of here. I'm gonna leave Shawn on his hang tonight for a change. Tonight we're joined by Jockey Darius Thorpe. Darius, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. So,
Thank you for having me.
and getting prepped, I like to, and Shawn knows this. He tells me I'm unquestionable rich because I like to know a little bit about the guests before they come on, kind of get into where they're from, how they got to where they are, some of the things they might tweet and say on social media and so forth. Read about what I can about you, look up videos so I can have a sense of your perspective when we're talking. So I feel like it gives me a better opportunity to understand you. And it seems to me it's easy to understand you. There's three things you said you life are important: God, family, and horse racing. Tell us about that.
I try to keep things a little simple just to break everything down. You can't really do anything without God. So you gotta, I'm not the most religious, but you people believe in what they believe in. So I kind of keep him close. So, nothing's possible without him. And then family, you always gotta have like somebody to, a support system mainly. So, and then horse racing is just my passion. Like I love to go fast. Love horses. You bond with some, you bond with you. It varies, So I kind of break my life down into three, sections just to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. So in trying to find out more about you, I came across some videos on YouTube, and I don't know if it's you or not, but some videos of Darius Thorpe wrestling. Is that you?
That's me.
Ah, so that's something we have in common.
I could tell by his look right away that you had him. It was him.
Yeah, I grew up in the Eastern Pennsylvania and wrestled in high school and college. So maybe, we had on Chantel Sutherland. She said maybe she could have a charity boxing match between her and Paco Lopez. Maybe we can be the undercard. We have a wrestling match.
Cool. I want to be signed up.
Right, let's do that. How are you tonight, Shawn?
I'm really good, and I'm excited. Darius, you're another one. You're always positive, and it's great in the sport of horse racing where, there's some negativity, but we need as much positivity as we can get. You said about your three passions. You also have another passion, and this one I find odd. Snakes. You have a pet snake, correct?
Yeah, I'm a animal person in general. So I have, maybe you can't really see it, it's a fish tank over here. So I got 10 fish tanks and a snake tank upstairs. So.
And you also have the snake got loose last year. Is that correct?
Yeah. What he did? I was feeding him, and I got distracted and didn't snap the tank back up, and he disappeared for, I think, 2 weeks. And then one morning I just went to go, and just normal day. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get a coffee. And I had the Keurig in the kitchen set up, and I went to go click the button, and there he is wrapped up on the top of the Keurig.
Ooh, wow.
So a real life Dr. Doodle, because you said one of the things I saw, you said you love to talk to the horses too.
Yeah. My big horse, Dr. Feelgood, he was a character in himself. So, they can't really talk to you, but you can get the sense that they understand, how you feel. And then, if you're in a good mood, bad mood, they feel it. So they kind of talk to you in their own sense. So it's kind of, yeah. So.
I was going to bring up Dr. Feelgood, won 13 of 15 career races, 10 for 10 at 4.5 furlongs, and you were the only jockey to ever ride the horse.
Yes, sir.
How was that experience?
It was a dream come true. Everybody, wishes for, at least one horse like him. Maybe people get multiples, but you always want at least one of him. And it was just, a dream come true. He made me love the game again. I was going through stuff during that time period, and it, kind of made me sour about the game. But then, he gave me a reason to wake up every morning and want to do it.
Mm-hmm. And he was 10 for 10 on 4.5 furlongs. There was actually a comment on Facebook today that we got, and I kind of agree with it. They said you're the best 4.5 furlong jockey at Charlestown, or the one they love to bet on the most. They just love how you ride the 4.5 furlong distance, which is an odd distance. Really, Charlestown's the only one that does it.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it. I never heard of it, growing up until I got to West Virginia, and it's. Everybody says, from the gate, sin, but it's still a little bit more, technical than that. So you learn to ride it. So But I appreciate the comment. So
one of the things you said about being a jockey is I found funny. It says you said one of the things that's different about being a jockey is you're up weird ass hours of the night. Why is that?
because here the races don't get done until maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock ish. And back when I lived in Maryland, I would leave. Like if I'm in the last race, I would leave, 10:30, 11 o'clock and drive back to Maryland. That's like an hour and a half drive. And then have to get back up. So like I feel like my sleep schedule is off. So it's like when everybody's sleeping and snoring and all people, oh, I'm tired. I'm just like, my body still hasn't wound down from the racing. So I'm just like, by the time I'm winding down, it's 3 o'clock and everybody's about to get back up for work, or like, everybody's still sleeping and I got to get up for work. So, so I just feel like when you can't sleep and all like your siblings and everybody sleep and you just up just looking at the walls. So
right, because you got to be quiet so you don't wake anybody up. Right, you don't want to be that guy. That's
yeah. If I can't sleep, nobody can.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's every household has one of those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Sean's shaking his head like, he doesn't want to say who it is because he don't want to get in trouble.
When I get up in the morning, I got to make sure I don't wake up the kid. You know what I mean? So.
There's reasons for that.
I want to believe I'm quiet, but I can. My exercise boots sound like a principal walking down the hallway.
Coming to get you for discipline, right? Yeah, that's. Speaking of which, I remember in high school, I was always in so much trouble. There was this. You talk about distinct sounds in high school. Principal, in my school, there was a PA system. And every time the PA system was about to come on, it would make like a little crackling noise. And all the kids in my classroom, as soon as it would start crackling, they would say, whatever the teacher's name was, Mrs. Drupp, can you please send Rich Beaglemeyer to discipline? Almost every time. It was pretty bad. It was horrible, I tell you. So your story is truly one of like the, in the movies, you see like the person who goes from the mailroom to the CEO, right? You started off as a hot walker, and I have to say, and I'm speaking for myself, and I don't know how many other horse players are like that. Like I know I see the final product, right? The horse is in the paddock. He's been worked out. All the people that are around the horse have had their hands on him, getting him prepared or getting her prepared for the races. But the average fan only sees like the trainer, the jockey, and the horse on race day. So you started off as a hot walker. I'll be honest, I'm ignorant about that stuff. I don't really know a whole lot of what goes on in the back before a horse shows up for a race. So kind of walk us through a day of a horse. What, like the different roles of people there, like what a hot walker does and what other people do with the horse, just to get the horse ready for the trainer and the jockey for race day.
Okay, so basically, like a hot walker, is a groom. They basically, make sure the horse is, dolled up, looking presentable, and training wise, you know if the horse is ready. So you just make sure as a groom you have like all your equipment and the horse is dolled up, and if they can take medicine, to make sure that the medicine is taken on time and you will show up at the paddock at the right time. So it's basically like being a parent and getting your kid ready for school.
All right. And then aside from the hot workers, what other folks have a hand in getting a horse ready behind the scenes?
I mean, the trainer and everybody has, they make sure that the silks and everything is like put together, and you have like from the horse standpoint of view, you have like the vet that checks them in, make sure their lip tattoo is the correct horse, and you just everybody going through their checklist.
Mm-hmm. All right, well that makes sense. So you did say that you're from Maryland, that you had that drive back. You're a big Ravens fan. We could see
Yes,
that
sir.
on your Twitter feed. So now that the Ravens are out of, well, they never made the playoffs, but now that your team's not in the playoffs, who are you backing for the rest of the way?
I'm not even looking at it. I'm not even looking at it.
You're that hardcore, huh?
Yeah. I'm just glad I don't have to stress over, yelling at the TV and throwing stuff because the game's not going my way. So
Rich got that out. Rich got that out of the way on Sunday with the Cowboys.
Here's the thing. I don't expect a whole lot of them. Mike McCarthy is Mike McCarthy, right? You had Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the league, and he ended up with one Super Bowl, right, with Aaron Rodgers. So now he's got Dak, and I love Dak because he's got all the intangibles, right? I mean, if you want a leader in the locker room, probably the guys on his team would be running to run through a 3-foot brick wall for the guy. And I absolutely agree with him. The fans should throw debris at the referees when the referees have a bad game. They might get themselves to be better referees. But the problem is, I'm going to trademark this, that sometimes Dak is inaccurate. His passes are a little off the mark. And when they're off the mark, it's hard to win, right? And that's
true.
And to me, that's the key to being a good NFL quarterback is being on the mark. Go ahead, Shawn. You have something to say.
So we'll stay positive. Darius, you always put on social. I don't know if you saw this today, what I put out there, but you always put stay frosty. Where did that come from? And then also, I need you to bail me out because Rich wants a trademark by the end of the show. So I need some of your help there.
Okay. So stay frosty original was my cousin that helped me learn how to draw growing up. I guess he made it his little saying, but I always asked him what it meant and always meant, watch your back. Is from military standpoint. Always watch your back and make sure you keep your enemies closer than your friends. So
the art of war. Yep, absolutely, for sure. So, what looking at your Equibase stuff, last year was your best year, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and looking at the chart, I love a chart because I come from the stock market world. So your earnings over the last 2 years are going up like this, 45 degrees. Obviously, some weather's kind of detoured stuff, but what's the goal for this year? I mean, obviously, well, I can't say obviously, but you have to have a number in mind. Like, what's that number you're looking for in purses won this year?
I really don't do purses. I do wins. Mm-hmm. So I try to top my wins every year just so, set a little goal for me that's not too big, and then I won't get disappointed if it don't happen. So I kind of, do little by little, and then it feels like it builds my confidence every time I, accomplish one milestone at a time. So, absolutely.
All right, Shawn, any final thoughts, Shawn, before we let Mr. Darius Thorpe? By the way, it was weird to see you wrestling because I thought to myself when Shawn said we're going to be talking to Darius Thorpe, I said, man, that'd be a great WWE name, a great wrestling name. And then I see wrestling videos. I was like, that's awesome. But anyway, Shawn, any final thoughts?
Well, a couple of people are asking about going back to Laurel or anything. Is there any plans to go to any other track or travel besides Charlestown?
Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully I can get some business popping somewhere else so I can, get a kickstart on, being successful somewhere else. But, that's the goal, to start spreading out. So.
Absolutely, for sure.
And then the only other thing I got is if you got anything for our last little saying, you got to stay frosty. If you can't do it here, we'll do it off camera.
Okay, you got to give me some time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, we'll say something. But anyway, we do appreciate you coming on, Darius. If folks want to follow you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, how do they do that?
You can follow me at Facebook is Darius Thorpe and Twitter is at Torpedo Jock.
Or Torpedo. There's a good one right there. Torpedo. Man, you're a good trade. Have you got a t-shirts yet with that? With Torpedo on there? What are you waiting for? You better get it before someone who watches the show does it. Shawn's already thinking about looking over
there. There is a company that just started. They're selling jockey gear. You should reach out to them and start that. You could. I'll get you the contacts for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and people can buy Darius Thorpe material.
Cool. All right, one thing before we go tonight. Shawn and I always have a pick. There are only one game in the NBA tonight. That's the Golden State against I forget who they're playing, but they should pound them. So off to college. Last night I took the Rams. I was the only one to take the Rams. Shawn and Daniel Centeno both bet against me. Yeah. They wanted to take Arizona. See, that's the face you should always make, Shawn, when you go against me. But tonight I'm taking Clemson +3 on the road, 3.5 on the road at Syracuse. Shawn?
I would take Syracuse.
You take Syracuse. What about you, Darius?
I'm gonna take Clemson.
All right.
I feel better now because last time we went 2-1, it went the other way. So I think I'll be all right now.
Hey, I got to tell you, Darius, you picked the right guy because so far on the show, I think I've given out 4 picks, and every single one of them is won so far. The only pick Shawn gave out, he waited till the games were like halfway over, so nobody could bet him. That's what he does.
I didn't know the score though. I was in the middle of this.
So, yeah. Any case, I've taken him because Clemson's one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the country. Syracuse has a hole in their 3-point defense. Hold on. We got a question here for you before we let you go. Is there any way to be able to hear the interview? Maybe is the volume not up, Shawn?
I don't know. I think that same person said it was going in and out or something, but I think he's the only one complaining, or she. I don't know.
I want to say complaining, Shawn. That's not the right word.
Yeah,
letting us know what's wrong.
Letting us know. So maybe it's their connection. I'm not sure.
Hey, I got one last thing for you, Darius.
Okay.
Your uncle was a big part of you being who you are today. Tell us about your uncle.
Well, he spent years over at Leatherberry's barn, being assistant trainer. So I kind of grew up naturally in the game, and he always wanted to make sure that I knew the insides and outs and make sure I knew what, just not trying to be a jockey, that I knew what was underneath me and how it was supposed to feel and what it was supposed to look like. So just know the ins and outs. So he just made sure that I was 100% in and out.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you knew at 7 years old you wanted to be a jockey, and he kept telling you, you're going to be too big. But that didn't work out, right? You knew what you were going to do, and that's the way it was. It's funny how, they say you can, what is it, the law of attraction, you can speak things into the universe and they actually happen, right?
Yeah.
So if you weren't being a jockey, what would you do? You went to school to be an architect, right?
Yeah, I always wanted to, because I like to draw, so I wanted to either be a tattoo artist or to draw blueprints for houses.
So with that tattoo artist background and the Torpedo name, you got to get to work on that.
Got to.
And make sure that Shawn and I get the first version signed.
Yes, sir.
All right, fantastic. Again, Darius, we appreciate you coming on. We wish you nothing but luck for the rest of the year, and check in with us, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye. Always fun, Shawn, no?
Yeah, absolutely. He's another one, real positive, great guy to talk to.
So he says you're good. He says Duke is the play. I kind of like in Rams were easy money, but not for Shawn, that's for sure.
That was ugly. I don't know what Kyler Murray was doing.
He's underhanding the ball to the other team. That's what he's doing, Shawn.
Apparently his math was 6 points is better than 2.
The other way.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually 8 points, Shawn, if you think about it. Well, no, it's not really 6 points. In any case, let's talk a little bit about the news of the day. Shawn, yesterday we spoke about Maximum Security had a little girl. Now Authentic had a little boy. Unfortunately, we probably won't see them run against each other, but what do you think about that? This new crop should be interesting, right? I wonder if it's going to be like the draft class with oh God, I hate when I can't remember the Herbert and all those guys, or the Baker Mayfield draft class.
Yeah, no, I think this should be good, and maybe it's time to get into the whole breeding background and see what happens here. Put this on your list and see what happens. See how these mares and fillies run, and now I'm Colt, whatever. Also, I know Terry was probably jumping up and down because
he owns pieces of it.
Yeah, all these people are getting money now too. So,
well, they get money for the breeding fees, right? But not for the from the myracehorse.com, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. So one other thing today, a divorce today. So we're talking about babies. Now we're talking about divorce. And that is Manny Franco and Angel Cordero part ways. Longtime tandem there, Shawn. What do you think about that? Johnny V left Angel Cordero a while ago. And Angel says that it's just because Manny wants to be number one.
Yeah. He declined a little bit last year, so I guess he's looking for a different path. And yeah, Angel Cordero is not doing so well. Lost Velasquez and now lost Franco. They said there's no hard feelings or anything. Didn't really say why they're splitting up. Just that Franco wants to do better. So
here's something that's interesting to me about, and I was talking about not being being a little bit ignorant about what happens before the horses show up on race day. I think one of the things people probably overlook too is the importance of jockey agents and the kind of rides that they're actually getting for their jockeys, right? Because I'd imagine that there has to be, from our conversation with Jose Ortiz, like little things stick in my mind for some reason. Like I said yesterday, I'm a little weird, but little things stick in my mind. And he was saying how his and I was reading a story about his agent and how his agent was around the barn all the time, right? Busting on trainers, give my guy a ride, give my guy a ride, give my guy. So that's got to be like a lot of, handshaking and all that kind of stuff to get that business done. But I have to imagine that when you're around the barn all the time, like the folks that are helping train the horses, and if you I would think you have to have, like my grandfather always used to tell me, make sure you tip like the mailman, the garbage man, all the people around you, because when you need something, they're able to help you. Right. Mm-hmm. And I have to imagine that when you're like in that circle, some of the helping hands probably can give you some of the best information that you're not going to get from a program. The trainer's probably not going to share it with you. The jockey probably doesn't spend enough time with the horse maybe to know about it. So I would think that these jockeys agents, they probably get a ton of, I'm going to say inside information, but on track information. And if there's a horse that's really hot, someone might come up to him and say, hey, you want so-and-so on this horse. So I really wonder if there's something in their horse players should be paying attention to get maybe to pick more winners.
Yeah, and I mean, it all starts with the jockey agent, but I don't know how much the jockey agent can do, because it kind of, I think, from what I get, kind of clicky. This person does this person a favor, this person does that person a favor, so that might. I will say this comes into other news, though. You say about a jockey agent, Jose Santos, one of the younger popular jockey agents, was getting blasted on Twitter for posting tickets and winning a big bet and going against some of his jockeys. So that might kind of upset kind of what you're talking about.
He's Pete Rose. No, at least Pete Rose bet on himself.
Yeah. So that kind of brought that up when you say about the inside information. Yeah, that upset some people.
Well, I spent some time around a paddock, right? A good friend of mine growing up, his dad had a couple horses out here at Arlington that is no more. And I won't mention the trainer's name, I have before, but the funniest thing was the guy would always like make these bets with me. You can't do 100 like shoulder push-ups, like a handstand where you put your feet against the wall. I won like $100 off the guy doing that. But anyway, so he would sometimes tell me like, hey, this horse is running. He would say, would you go ahead and would I play this horse today? And he would tell me, nah, the other one. So, I mean, they know too, right? And I was reading a story about they know today.
The only thing I would say with that, and I didn't agree with those people, because I don't feel like a jockey agent, if they're allowed to bet, I don't think they should only be able to bet for their jockeys.
See, I think for Manny, just from watching Manny, I think Manny has got to be on speed horses, to be honest with you. We had a conversation with Danny Gargan before he got into the news, right? The trainer. And he had mentioned that on one of his horses, a turf horse, that he wanted Manny Franco specifically on his horse because he felt like his horse needed to be on the front. And that he felt like Manny was one of the best front end jockeys that there is. So I think a lot of times, jockeys got to fit their horses, right?
Absolutely.
If you're a horse, if you want to be on the lead and you put a guy who wants to be out, or a girl who wants to be on the lead on a horse that closes, that's not a good fit.
Right. And I mean, as a bettor, that's definitely one angle I look at, does this jockey fit this horse? I mean, if a jockey is better with a speed horse, I don't want that jockey coming from 10 lengths behind. So yeah, I would definitely think the agent and the jockey are looking at that as well. But then there's some jockeys, I mean, I ask that question a lot to jockeys, and some jockeys don't care. They'll do I think their clothes.
Well, I think, you have some like any sport, Shawn, or any aspect of life, there's just some people that are a little bit more gifted than others, right? So some jockeys, it probably doesn't matter because they're able to, they have that feel no matter what kind of horse that they're on. All right. So this story is interesting to me because this is a little bit of yin and yang in the same time. So Michael Baychuk, I hope I pronounced that correct. He's been one of the most visible handicappers in the sport for a while. Apparently he's won some national handicapping horse racing competitions. He's also the handicapper for the New Orleans Times Picayune. I hope I said that right. I'm not from that part of the world. So in any case, I find this funny because he's suing Bob Baffert for $50,000 because he says that if Medina Spirit was not on the good hay, that he would have won $50,000 in his Kentucky Derby bets, right? And then Bob Baffert says these people have tinfoil conspiratorial premises for the class action lawsuit. But here's the thing I get a kick out of. So Michael Bajak, who's won handicapping contests, right? He says he can't bet on horses now, but somehow he still wins handicapping contests and is able to handicap and win races. It's kind of, and it doesn't. Oh, he's taking kind of both positions at the same time.
Yeah, and there's so much with this story that I disagree with. The first one, he's not leaving the game. He can say he's leaving the game. He's still betting somewhere. He may not.
He said he's going to bet at races that he goes to because he's going to bet on sports. And to me, this was the key sentence in his in this story over at Thoroughbred Daily News, and we'll link to it in the recap of the show. But he says that it's the takeout, Shawn. Now we've heard that from a lot of people. And if horse racing doesn't get its head around this part of the sport, the takeout, because sports betting is now illegal in a lot of different states, it's not going to be horse racing that hurts horse racing. It's going to be the fact that bettors are betting and they're getting lower takeouts, and the more astute bettors understand that, and they're going to take their money from horse racing over to the – and there's another thing, and Terry complains about this all the time, and I agree, and I think, and this is one thing that the NRA has correct, and that is – they have to close off the syndicates 3 minutes before post because, damn it, I hate betting a horse at 3-1 that 30 seconds before it goes off, and it's down to 7-5 when the gate opens because these syndicates come in. I agree. That's the best rule in horse racing. So those are two things that I think horse racing must fix now. 3 minutes before post, syndicates, you're done. And then secondly, you have to be more competitive because when we were talking to Krakenberger, he said that exactly, that he'll bet $20,000 on a college basketball game, but $6 on a horse race.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with all that, but now this story, what I'll go into, now I lost my brain now. Number one, I don't agree that he would have necessarily won. That's like saying this Saturday when the Bengals scored that touchdown, you take the whistle off, you take 7 points off the board, and it's 16-16. We all know that just changes the whole complex of the game. So you take the horse out of the race, the whole thing changes. Also, I'll give a quote from Matt Carruthers when we talked about entries. He said, we're all adults. So we're all adults. If we know Baffert's cheating or we think Baffert's cheating, don't you think you would have a bet on Medina Spirit at high odds? Because no matter if he was cheating or not, you get to keep your money, whether they take that win away from them or not.
Unless you get betting on Joe Sharp, who's not cheating.
Yeah. But so you would have won a ton of money if you thought, okay, Baffert's cheating here and Medina Spirit's going to win this race.
Well, here's the thing, Shawn. The guy won national handicapping contests, right? I'd have to say that at least one horse he picked across the whole thing might have eaten the good hay.
Yeah, that's true too. Like, I'm sure if there was cheating going on, Medina Spirit wasn't the only horse. There was the only horse found. So hopefully that was the case, and hopefully there wasn't even cheating there, but I'm not even going into that. I just disagree with saying that the second place horse would automatically win if they weren't cheating with Medina Spirit. And if Baffert's such the cheater that this guy claims he was, he knew that before the Kentucky Derby. So then you bet accordingly.
Well, you didn't know that he was going to test positive for the ointment before the Kentucky Derby show. But I think there's no chance it's going to win because, as you're saying, this really goes down a path of what ifs. And I mean, you can have endless what ifs, right? What if another horse was on something and didn't get tested? And I mean,
anything with gambling, you're not going to win in the court of law, or at least you haven't been able to yet. So it's going to be really hard.
Indeed, for sure. All right, Shawn, the moment's here. It's the time to close the show. So in any case, Shawn, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, tomorrow we have Katie Davis McCarthy and Trevor McCarthy on. Mm-hmm. And then also, if we get to 800 YouTube subscribers, I'll be giving a signed Mike Smith picture away. We need about, 37, 38 more people?
Mm-hmm. So and you're not going to give it to number 800. You're going to give it to somebody or will you just give it to anybody?
Well, we'll do something live on the show tomorrow. So you'll just have to be watching tomorrow, and we'll do something. We'll come up with something, and I'll give.
So you don't even know what we're going to do. You're just going to make it up on the fly.
Well, we got to get to 800 subscribers, and I'll tell you tomorrow.
All right. So let me bring up the picture real quick, Shawn. There it is. A nice picture of Mike Smith. I like these ones that are. up on Justify, yes. And that's obviously at Churchill Downs too.
Yep.
Terry will sign up 36 times. He probably has already, Tom. For sure. All right, Shawn, that wraps up for today. Tomorrow, Terry and I, speaking of Terry, we will be doing our best to find some winners at Gulfstream Park. It's funny. I hit a lot of different things today, except for my pick fours. I had a bunch of winners that I had to either pick first or second at Parks. And then anyway, so hopefully tomorrow.
That's a problem with pick fours is you could have 8 of 10 winners, but every time you get to that closing leg or something, that's the leg you miss out on.
Mm-hmm. That is the leg that you miss out on. And it's always the fourth leg or the connecting leg between two bets, right? That kills both of them at the same time.
That's really
hate that.
You know, you do the rolling thing. Yeah, that is horrible. You end one and you start one and you lose both times, and that's the only race you lose. Oh.
Yeah, that's the one that makes you want to go play golf or something. Jump off a cliff. Sports betting is the worst. Yeah, we know bad beats. Those are pretty horrible, those bad beats. And I've had some pretty bad beats. Tom, if there's any one person that should be thankful for pick sixes, it's probably you, right? You had a nice one in your life there. In any case, then I don't know what Tom and I are going to be doing on Friday. He hasn't sent it to me yet for Foreign Fridays. All right, Shawn. And then on Thursday, who's our guest on Thursday night for the Players Edge?
Jockey Aubrey Green, currently riding at a fairground. She rides at Delaware in the summer too. Up and coming jockey. She's been riding, I think it's 6, maybe coming on 7 years here. But just keep getting better and better, and a fun person too.
Absolutely. So that should be a good show. Make sure you check that out. As always, Shawn, we hope that. Well, what do we hope for?
I don't got anything yet. We gotta give it more time.
Here's we hope that Terry, if you join Terry and I tomorrow, we can do like Carl Broberg attempts to do, and that is so. Tom says we're going to be doing Shay Tin in Hong Kong on Friday, so make sure you check that out. Let's see. Join Terry and I tomorrow, and let's see if we can stuff your pockets full of Carl Broberg cash. That's no good.
Well.
We'll come up with a better one. All right, Shawn, have a great night. See everybody tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time. If you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube and Horse Racing Radar. Get us up to 800. Somebody's going to win that Mike Smith picture. Head on over to Facebook and Twitter at Horse Race Today. The handle's the same. And I want everybody on Facebook and Twitter to hit up Shawn, make him open up a TikTok account, and he's got to do the first TikTok. It's got to be Shawn dancing with tools.
No one wants to see that. I can tell you.
We all want to see that.
There's no way my inbox will blow up for that.
Let's blow it up, folks. All right. Everybody have a fantastic Tuesday night. Go Clemson. And we'll see you all tomorrow morning with Terry at 12 o'clock Eastern. Have a great night.